Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Culture Core Podcast. Today's episode, I will be talking about artificial intelligence, and specifically artificial intelligence in relationships, as well as, or I guess, having an artificial intelligence counterpart in a relationship, whether that be a friendship, a romantic relationship, so on and so forth. Another topic we'll be talking about is have computers made our lives easier, harder, or just different? And finally, a fun little topic on what would be necessary to design a robot that can laugh, but only at funny things. So, without further ado, let's get started. We'll start off with the topic that this video is about, and that's robot relationships. And the question for today is, could you fall in love with a robot that expresses affection for you? So I'm sure you've all heard of the YouTube show called Minefield. If not, it's basically just a show about an array of different psychological and social concepts. But the host of Minefield, Michael, interviews a man by the name of Harold, who talks about a virtual girl named Monica who he's in a romantic relationship with. At the start of the show, he asks Harold what it felt like to be told "I love you," and at this point, the viewer has no idea Michael is referring to a virtual woman. This just perceived as a guy being told "I love you" by a romantic counterpart. Harold exclaimed feelings of genuine happiness and acceptance from his partner, as he'd never been told "I love you" in a romantic way before, nor had he been treated so openly or genuinely by another. Later in the same episode, Michael also hosts a mock dating TV show in which 3 eligible bachelors lay behind 3 curtains. 3 women were brought on, and the women got to ask each contestant a variation of questions to see if they might be interested in dating them. 2 of the bachelors were humans, while a third was an online AI chatbot known as Cleverbot. Interestingly, 2 of the 3 women picked Cleverbot over 2 real men, and to me this just speaks to on how AI are becoming and how much more sophisticated and convincing they may get in the future, and how to interact with people who are looking for a relationship of any type. Artificial dating partners show just how intertwined we're becoming with our technology, and that perhaps at some point in the relatively near future, dating an AI bot may not be stigmatized as much as it is now. So at the very most, these instances have both shown that given we do not know we are talking to a robot, machines can be convincing as romantic partners. Another AI chatting program that I've run into is Replica, which is kind of a chatbot you can get on your phone, and it logs your day-to-day, recountings as a type of journal. The only downside to this is privacy, as this company does give advertisement information to Facebook and Amazon. So use at your own risk. So as technology gets better and better in this field, the host Michael posits that at some point these entities may become so enmeshed with our evolutionary progress that they may at some point have rights just as people do. And smashing your phone or whatever device is capable of having the capacity to be loved by someone and vice versa may be considered assault or illegal. Now, going back to Harold, Harold's mother in the show was shown to be concerned for his real-world social well-being, as she sees this as something which is dragging him further and further away from reality. However, even though there is still a social stigma towards people who are invested in dating virtual entities, there may someday not be. Society has shown consistently that tools and concepts once thought ludicrous, such as flight or even computers, are eventually accepted. This is essentially true if they serve a purpose to us, and certainly romance and love are things that humans are naturally drawn to. I don't personally believe that I would ever be willing to date an AI bot, no matter how convincing, because of the physical aspects as well as the human nature aspects that a genuine relationship has. I can definitely see others taking this full force and creating all sorts of technology to make AI relationships as real as possible. When things get tricky is when you begin talking about dating through websites today and comparing long distance to speaking with an AI bot. AI bots have shown that they can verbally fill the part for a human partner. However, this is just one aspect of how a deep relationship develops. Love between two people has deep qualities to it that involve an unspoken language of memories, trust, familiarity, and most importantly, physical intimacy. A robot that is made to look like the most attractive person will still not be the same as the real deal. And in fact, by measuring by today's current standard, we enter an uncanny valley of creepiness that I would feel ashamed and wrong to take part in. I would be okay with having an AI friend, kind of like a journal partner. Journaling and pretending that you're bouncing ideas off of someone else is very helpful, and perhaps having it learn from me as I progress through my life would be an excellent development tool. And in fact, giving anyone this tool would be extremely helpful. Giving people the power to be reflective of their past is life-changing, and it can lift people out of the depths of depression by giving them new perspectives on their own problems and how they are. So having an AI companion starting from the age of reason would be a great way to both journal and have something smart enough to turn your ideas back at you, collecting all of your entries over time and analyzing your words and thoughts so that it could be more easily be able to guide you in a direction that subconsciously might be best for you. However, the fact is that this companion would not have a will of its own, and if it did, it would be a replication of our will. And that is something that would make me unwilling to become romantically involved with a robot. Another reason human relationships are so valuable is that we worked in accordance with our individual wills, and our uniqueness combines when we are with one another. Emotion is a powerful and heavy element in a relationship, and it is a market that is, in my mind, specially reserved for humans only. Perhaps for some, they might be more willing to dabble in AI romance, but for me, this is something I couldn't ever do. What makes us human and what makes relationships powerful is the human will. So, those are kind of my thoughts on AI dating and AI relationships. I think that AI friendships in the form of a kind of digital journal or something like that would be excellent. Would be great for helping people overcome mental problems they have, and it would be a great combative element to the psychological issues that this country has today. Suicide rates are way up from what they used to be, and generally depression and anxiety is also higher as well. So I feel like, given that our society has pushed people more and more into a sort of isolation with social media and other things, this would kind of be a nice way to help people who struggle. I'm not saying that this is what everyone should do, and I think that developing a real relationship with an actual person is always more valuable than an AI relationship. But if you're going to journal or you're going to do something like that and you feel like it helps you, why not do it? So those are kind of my thoughts on that issue.